Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Derek Afasi. I'm the owner of Afasi Financial Group and RetireSharp.com. Today's topic, I want to go in depth on what are the best retirement plans for an individual situation. And I'm going to break this video down into two major parts. One is going to be for individuals that are looking at their accumulation phase currently. And then the other half is going to be for individuals that are gearing up for retirement and they're looking more on a preservation and a distribution phase, so more along the lines of like a retirement income play or more of those retirement years, so that senior baby boomer market. So we have more of a distribution strategy or preservation strategy. So for the individuals that are watching this video interested in the accumulation side, their situation might look something like this, that they're working for a company. They could be in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. They're working for a company and maybe that company is offering them an employer sponsored retirement plan such as a 401k. So they're saying, okay, as long as I'm going and I'm placing dollars aside into this, type of retirement bucket, I want you to think of that type of account or any account like a bucket. As long as you're placing dollars aside, then it should be going into that bucket, and you're choosing the correct allocation options, the correct funding options that your 401k allows, well, then the combination of the contributions plus that rate of return from your funds should give you a much more, powerful bucket, a bucket that's growing tax deferred and therefore is growing larger and larger and larger each and every year. The problem that occurs with that strategy is, how does this individual know that they're choosing the correct 401k related options or the correct funding options within their 401k? Are they shooting from the hip? And is there an actual scientific approach to choosing, what their funding options are? So in a typical situation, if somebody has a 401k or 403b or any sort of, qualified employer sponsored retirement plan, they're going to have anywhere from 5 to about, 20 different funding options to choose from. Some of them are going to be in mutual funds. Some of them are going to be in ETFs. You're going to see like conservative strategies. You're going to see like target date funds saying like 2040 funds. You can see more aggressive type strategies in there, or moderate strategies. So, you're having this whole plethora of options. And when 401k accounts first came out and they were more and more popular in the 1980s, you had one of the largest market growths from 1980 all the way to 2000. There was about an over 1,000% growth in the stock market. So it was a lot easier for somebody to make a mistake or to not take a scientific approach when choosing what their 401k options, what their accumulation strategy was, because majority of things were making money hand over fist. If you were placing in large contributions and you were just kept increasing those contributions, you were having the combination of the contributions going into the bucket plus that nice rate of return that was bringing a positive interest credit back. So you had the power of compound interest that kept growing your monies further and further and further. Well, the problem that occurred was after 2000 and you had 2001 all the way to 2011, and you had this crazy market volatility, and even more recent times you've had crazy market volatility that has occurred. The large 2008 market crash, made it very apparent that this is nothing more than a stock market gamble, that there has to be at least some protection, or there at least has to be a system in place to grow those monies on a strategic basis, to not just shoot from the hip, not just randomly chase returns or chase the next hot topic. How exactly can you establish that growth properly? I believe that the bigger picture is to not just, go into something, not just throw more and more monies at a vehicle, like an account or a strategy without knowing, what are the detailed pros and cons of it. And a little guide that I help explain to clients or just any individuals that they really want to know, what is an effective way to accumulate your dollars, is through an acronym of TIME. And I read this in one of these financial publications, and it just has always stuck with me. And it stands for taxes, inflation, market losses, and expenses. So if you have an individual situation where, maybe they have a 401k account and they're thinking, oh, okay, I'm just going to listen to my parents, I'm going to listen to my grandparents, just throw my money into a qualified retirement account. Well, does that make the most mathematical sense? By the time you retire, what exactly is your taxation going to look like if you go that route? what are you choosing? How are you choosing that type of plan? That if whether it's a 401k account or you're utilizing a brokerage account or utilizing, insurance-based products, what exactly is the rate of return? Is it better to, take that $1,000 a month that you're saving, $500 a month you're saving, and throw that underneath your mattress? Or are you going to lose out the purchasing power to inflation risk? So this is why individuals typically choose to invest those monies not in the fixed account, but they try to invest those monies into the market, into a combination of stocks and bonds, so that they're able to throw their dollars aside and get that power of compound interest, the combination between the contributions plus the rate of return to grow those accounts. So something that will beat out that pace of inflation rather than take the money and just hoard it underneath the mattress and you're losing out to purchasing power risk, something that could at least grow those accounts properly and at least has a proven track record when you're looking at the average rate of return, off of that specific strategy, off of that specific allocation or that specific account. The third aspect is market losses. What is your plan to prevent those downward market losses from occurring? Does that mean that, you have certain mechanisms in place that will give you like a type of warning system if the markets start going down to go and pull out your monies and go into a more conservative portfolio to eliminate those market losses? How exactly does that work? And then the final aspect that a lot of individuals don't realize are the expenses. What exactly are those expenses in the account? If you have a 401k account that has 1% in fees, and then you're also contributing into a mutual fund account within that 401k that has another 1.5% in fees, well, you're already minus 2%, 2.5% in the whole. So if you have an average rate of return on those accounts of, let's say 6%, you're really only getting an average rate of return of 3.5%. So, that's where you really have to incorporate all four of these components to say, is that solution or is the area that I'm placing my dollars into accumulating, is it going to be the most efficient and the most effective for what my goals are? So the way that my agency tries to help individuals out that call in is twofold. First off, if they're saying they want to stay with the status quo and only go into their employer-sponsored retirement plan, such as a 401k, well, then we put together 401k stress tests, and this is completely for free. So we could show you exactly what you're currently contributing into and break down scientifically, is that the best approach, or should you make these slight tweaks to those types of accounts? What exactly, off of the simulations, what can you expect off of the average rate of return, off of a whole slew of different options? We go through 3,000 different simulations through our Retire Sharp planning system process to see whether that's going to be the most accurate and efficient for your goals, and also attach some mechanisms onto to monitor those types of accounts. The other aspect is to say, well, maybe you should only be leaving a portion. If somebody's going and they're putting away, let's say if somebody's making $100,000 in a given year and they're putting away 10% of their salary towards their retirement savings, and they have a 401k plan that's matching them 2%, well, it might make more sense to just scale down their contribution into the 401k account to 2% so they're getting the full match, monitoring exactly how that account grows, and now you have 8% that you could look into more of a private side, something that more follows you. You're not just handcuffed to that individual company and having to stay at that company, but something that you could now control on a private side. And we do analysis on, utilizing insurance-based products, utilizing employer-sponsored retirement plans, utilizing IRA accounts, Roth IRA accounts, brokerage accounts, whatever the case may be, and we try to determine mathematically, what is the best route for that additional 8%. My whole mindset is a little bit different on this as well. Is like individuals think that if they go and, in this example, they're throwing $10,000 aside for their retirement, that they have to throw that much money away. I'm saying no. If the math makes sense and all you need to do is put away $5,000 a year, $5,000 a year, and get a much better result, and you're able to pocket the remaining $5,000 and leave that into savings, why would you go and waste $10,000 into a non-planned approach, a guessing approach, rather than just take a more systematic process towards saying, okay, what's going to be my best solution regarding taxes, regarding inflationary protection, regarding market loss protection, and regarding expenses, which ones come out the best way. And that's one of the things we try to do with our comparison tools on an individual basis. So, whether you're in your 30s and your 40s and your 20s, each situation is going to be a lot different and really depend upon where you work. If you have a 457 plan, a 403B, a 401k, a thrift savings plan, that's all going to come into play as well off of which one might be your best accumulation situation. So if you're interested in finding out more information on an accumulation stage, and that's where you currently are, give us a 1-800 number a call, and when calling over to a specialist, say, you saw a video and you were interested in talking to an accumulation specialist on there. Now, the opposite side of the coin is the preservation and distribution strategies, and these are for individuals that are either currently retired, 5 years out, 10 years out, even as much as 15 years out from retirement, how to make sure that they could properly retire and retire with confidence. And it comes down to three main options and three main goals that they have to make sure are figured out. The first thing comes down to income sources. The second aspect comes down to emergency funds. And the third aspect comes down to inflationary protection. So how does this come into play to receiving a confident retirement and making sure that you could live the retirement of your dreams, live the retirement of traveling and fishing and golfing and doing whatever, or even working part-time if that's something to always keep your mind active, whatever that case may be, whatever you feel is your ideal retirement. And if we have an example, let's say we have a male that's age 60 and they go and they give us a call and they say, okay, I have $500,000 of retirement savings. These are all into, 401k related accounts or an IRA related account. And I want to retire by the time I hit age 65 because I understand that Medicare is going to kick in at that point. So I could utilize Medicare as my health insurance so that I don't have to rely on my company for the health insurance anymore. This is when this is my ideal retirement age. So the first thing that we want to figure out is, what are your expenses right now? What are your expenses going to be at age 65? It's not to this, oh, trust me, go into the strategy and this is going to be the greatest thing ever. You're going to have all this income coming to you. No. Scientifically, what is your current expenses? What are your expenses going to be at age 65? And we incorporate inflation in there to say from now, maybe you're going to have some fixed expenses in there, and then you're also going to have inflationary expenses in there. The fixed expenses are going to remain flat for those 5 years, and throughout your lifetime, the inflationary expenses could increase from anywhere between 2 to 4% in a given year. So let's say at age 65, we calculate that this individual needs $50,000 of income per year. Maybe $30,000 is going to be fixed, $20,000 is going to be inflationary at that age 65. And what is this individual's income sources? Well, maybe they're not offered a pension plan and all they have is just their retirement savings, their old employer-sponsored retirement plans. So therefore, it tells us that maybe Social Security income is going to be right around $35,000 at that age 65 if they trigger it, and they don't have any other guaranteed income sources coming to them. So with this specific situation, what we want to do is figure out what's the smallest amount of dollars from this 500,000 that we could place into something that's going to provide them lifetime income that they could never outlive, that he can never outlive, or him and his spouse can never outlive. So the gap is not 25,000, it's not 30,000, it's just a $15,000 gap. So what we're able to do is leverage specifically designed IRA annuity contracts that still allow the individual to have control, still allow the individual to touch their monies if they need to, and also leverage the insurance company through an income rider that will produce them exactly $15,000 of income from they're placing into the account at age 60. It's giving them a guaranteed deferral till age 65, and then that's when they're going to trigger that money. Maybe out of that 500,000, it's only going to cost $150,000, not a dollar less, not a dollar more, into company A, that will accomplish that goal of triggering $15,000 of lifetime income by age 65. This is the large mistake, is individuals think that they need to take on that risk, that they need this rate of return automatically by the time that they hit age 65, or better yet, they could have company B knocking on their door saying, oh, we have this great plan. it's going to cost you $250,000 if you give us it at age 60, and then at age 65 we're going to give you $15,000 of lifetime income. Why would you go with company B if company A could get you there with a lot less dollars? It's the same sort of safety plan. You have a legal reserve structure in place with that company. So this is IRA number one with company A, and it only cost you $150,000 out of the $500,000. That covers base number one. Now you have emergency funds which need to be covered. It's about, rule of thumb is 6 to 12 months of emergency funds off of what your annual expenses should be placed aside into something that's liquid cash. So what that tells us is that if your annual expenses are $50,000, maybe we'll put $50,000 and we'll just place that into a very safe IRA money market account. That's not going to be growing. It's not going to be getting beat up, have a very slight growth, but it's not going to put you hell in a handbasket if the market crashes and burns. It's something that if you ever need to purchase a car, a tree comes, falls to your house, you need some repairs, whatever that is, you want to take an extra vacation, or there's some sort of medical need, whatever that is, you at least now have those emergency funds covered. So what did we do out of this 500,000? Rather than go and say, oh, just throw that and invest it, and we're going to manage that money and make sure that it's good. No, we want to stick each one to its specific lane. That says 150,000 is with IRA number one with company A. You have IRA money market account, which is IRA number two, is 50,000. So therefore you have $300,000 left over. And then that's when this inflationary need comes in play. Dependent upon your mindset regarding annuity contracts, you could actually set up step-ups in inflation, because we understand that at age 65 there's going to be $50,000 of a need, but $20,000 is going to be inflationary expenses. So that means that if it's going to compound by in between 2 to 4% in a given year, we want to make sure at age 68 there might be another $2,000 that steps up of income. Maybe at age 71, there's going to be another $3,000 of income that needs to step up in there. So you could actually set up these micro annuity accounts that are just getting triggered with income later on to provide you on that lifetime income basis and make sure that you're stepping up with inflation. The mistake that's made is individuals think that they have to throw their dollars, if they're going that annuity route, they have to throw their dollars into an inflationary annuity, and many times you're shooting yourself in the foot. What I mean by that is you could have company A that's providing, in this situation, $150,000 will give you $15,000, or you could have company C that requires $150,000, and that will only provide this person $8,000 of lifetime income, but this has an inflationary step up. So it's going to take so long for company C to hit that break-even point of that $15,000 of flat income. And this is where a lot of the companies try to bait and switch the clients of lifetime income by utilizing those inflationary riders. I don't like inflationary riders. I don't think that there's enough attractive contracts out there to really leverage an inflationary protection with just a one-size-fits-all annuity contract. I think you have to ladder it properly if you're going that annuity route. So as I clear up the screen a little bit, understand that we had $500,000 with that client. They have 5 years of a deferral. We used $150,000 with company A IRA, and that was an annuity to provide lifetime income. You had $50,000 with money market IRA number two, and then you have an inflationary need, and depending upon your mindset, with annuities, like I like to explain annuity contracts, but I think majority of annuities out there are garbage contracts. I think that when you do have a good annuity for the correct situation, I think it could be a perfect solution, but that's not the one all, that's not the one all be all, solution and just saying, oh, you're going to have all this great income. I like to be more methodical with the approach. So like an inflationary goal, you could say, okay, well, I've already used up one annuity. I don't want to use annuities again for my third goal. So maybe I want to just go and invest those monies, and now you're having a conversation about a managed money route, more of a tactical money managed route, a managed money route, rather than a set it and forget it type mentality. So then what's happening is each year when you hit 65, if you're able to at least compound the growth on this 300,000 left over into a specifically designed IRA contract, does it work better than your current employer-sponsored retirement plan? Most likely, yes, because with IRAs, we could have 3,000, 5,000 different options, plethora of options available, eggs in your basket to choose from, and customize that inflationary need for you, as opposed to your 5 to 20 options available through your 401k through work. So it just gives you more eggs in your basket. It allows us to customize that a little bit better to make sure that that last goal, that last base is covered of inflationary protection, and then you could start pulling out more monies from that the more and more you need it. As if inflation increases more one year, you pull out a little bit more. If it doesn't, then you don't have to pull out anything from that account. So, you could have it more flexible, more systematic, but rather than just say, oh, I have 500 grand and I'm going to go and try to pull monies from this account, that's where there's a risk that comes into play. This gives you more of a puzzle piece, more of a systematic process to give you that peace of mind, to give you that confidence in retirement that you will not outlive your monies, you have an ample amount of emergency fund, and you have the proper inflationary protection in place. So things used to be very simple back in the day. You had individuals who were able to just invest their monies, look at which ones had the cheapest fee options and just invest their money in the market and say, okay, well, my accounts should be growing and I should be able to pull out monies from this account as they grow. Well, unfortunately, when you're investing your money in the stock market with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever that case may be, you fall victim to that reverse dollar cost averaging effect of saying mutual fund related fee, advisor related fee, downward market loss potential, pulling income from those accounts. All of these are little holes that are coming out of the bottom of your bucket. And then when you get hit with a downward market loss, that could significantly impact the bucket, hence, 2008. Then you bring on longevity risk, the risk of living longer and longer with technological advances. Then you're also incorporating inflationary risk, the purchasing power risk. So there has to be a plan in place. It can't just be I'm going to shoot from the hip and hope that everything just pans out. So what has also happened, the shift that has taken place, is individuals can't use those fixed accounts such as a bank CD or fixed annuity that used to pay 10, 12, 14% rate of return and just live off the interest, have their money safe, and then utilize their dollars and have their principal protected. Now there has to be more a strategic approach, more of a methodical approach to planning on that preservation and distribution side. So I hope that this portion made a lot of sense. At any point in time, please feel free to give our 1-800 number a call. It's 1-800-566-1002. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When calling in, you're going to speak to an assistant, and you're going to tell them, okay, I was interested, I saw a video online, I was interested in a preservation and distribution plan, a retirement income plan. I'm in my later years, and then they'll patch you over to a specialist. Or, like the beginning of this video, you're interested more in that accumulation phase, and you're interested in getting a free 401k stress test, or seeing exactly what would be the best scientific approach to growing your monies. Just say that you're interested in talking to an accumulation specialist. So, I really hope that you found value in this video. We try to educate through literature pieces, through personalized videos. That's why I believe we are A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. We've always had very good reviews. We've never had any complaints. It's because of this methodical process. If you found value, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, so you have access to the most updated videos, and we look forward to taking your phone call and helping you out best way possible. Thanks so much, guys.